What's up?
Not much. What's up with you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be speaking to you today about the college experience, especially since we have so many people applying for college, and also the first years have completed maybe their first month or first couple of weeks. So I think this is a very good episode for everyone. So we're just going to wait a couple minutes and then we'll begin, and we'll be discussing the college experience.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And let me pull up the PowerPoint while we're waiting. You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. You always have to ask.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. Awesome. And of course, both Helin and I have graduated college, so we're very well versed in what this is like to go through in 4 years. If any of you have questions, please feel free to write them in the comments and we'll get to them at the end. I'm guessing we should just go ahead and start, Helin. So
Yeah,
there's
go
a lot
ahead.
to discuss here. So we're going to first begin with academics. I think the most obvious thing is college is not high school. We get told that a lot, but I don't think we're prepared for that. College is a lot more like college assumes that you're going to make good choices in your life, that they're going to give you a lot of assignments, that you're going to study, and that you're going to do well on the exam. That if you have a question, you will ask it. No one needs to ask you, does anyone have any questions? That if you need help, you will get that help. You will find that help. So sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes professors will be kind of hands off. They'll just give the lecture. And if you need help, then you have to approach them. And sometimes grades, this is the one that really I think messes people up because they're so used to having grades every single day, their homework every single day coming in. And that's not what it's like in college because you don't have class every day. So your grades are going to be very strictly based on maybe one or two things. So like participation overall, or your final essay. So like this 10-page paper that you have to write at the end, which counts like for 50 or 70% of your grade. So you always have to watch out for that and invest your time wisely. Do you want to add, Helin, on that?
Yeah. The best way to know what your class is all about is your syllabus.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
into it. Make sure to see. Some teachers don't care about participation, so see who you're dealing with. Read your syllabus. Mark up the dates because once they give you the syllabus, it's none of their business if you miss the date or not. It's not their job to remind you. So that's your best friend in every class.
Yeah. I had a special folder for all my syllabi because I was like, I am not going to miss any dates, and highlight everything on it. And then you have your little planner as well. And if you're thinking of grad school, you definitely want to cater to some of the professors. They are going to be your recommenders in 4 years. So please keep that in mind. So they are hands off. They're not like your high school teachers. So you do have to do a lot of the legwork in the relationship. So it's not just, oh, I got a good grade in this professor's class. This professor can recommend me. It needs to be a little more developed than that sometimes. Participation, it depends on what the class is. Like if it's a big 100-student class, it's not going to matter as much. But if you're in like a discussion group, keep that in mind, of like 10 people, participation is going to be a huge amount of your grade. So you do have to get used to public speaking. You do have to get used to trying to express your opinion in an educated way. And I think the most obvious one that I think we hear a lot is try not to take 8 a.m. classes. I hear a lot of college students who are like, well, I want to take an 8 a.m. because I want to get used to, work schedules where you wake up early and then, but honestly, this isn't work. College is not a work atmosphere. It's college. So someone who's at work is going to wake up early and then finish early at like 5 p.m. and then have the rest of the day to themselves. versus a college student does not finish at 5 p.m. They're most likely in the library for a couple hours, or
Yeah.
studying or doing a project. So don't consider this like a job and be like, I need to get used to the job cycle routine. This is college. It's very different.
Don't even get me about the amount of speeding tickets I got just trying to get to my 8 a.m. It was
Right.
not worth it. Just don't do it unless you're like an early bird.
Yeah.
You're not an early bird, you're gonna be miserable the rest of the day. Like, trust me.
Yeah. Commuting is another thing too, because you have to really get used to that schedule, and also parking. That's something also to keep in mind. Like, a lot of people, when they look at college expenses, they're like, tuition. Um, there's a lot more that goes into that. Coffee adds up, and you will need a lot of coffee. A lot of times when you need a snack because you've stacked all your classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that adds up too. Parking adds up, gas adds up. So just
I
be
don't know
aware
if it's
about it.
like that in other colleges, but parking at MTSU was a nightmare.
Oh,
Like, sometimes I'd get like an hour before my class just because I know it's gonna take me an hour to find parking. And then
yeah.
walk to my class because sometimes I'd have to park very far away. So you have to keep that in mind. I don't know if they're built more parking spaces now, but parking is no joke.
Oh wow. Wait, so they don't have like assigned areas for everyone? Like they'll be
No.
like, you're in B. Oh wow.
You
Okay.
come and like, if you come and you find parking, you take it. So it's
It's
ridiculous.
poor.
I wish it was assigned. I wish that would have made my life so much easier. No, it's you
Yeah.
and your luck. You show up, you find parking. If you don't, one time I just went home. I was like, you know what? It's
Oh
not.
my god.
Yeah, it took me like an hour and a half. I missed my class, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. I don't know if the parking is still the same. I've graduated for like a year. Maybe they changed, but that's my experience with the whole parking situation.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. Timing is all very important. You also don't have to buy all your books. This is something I bought all my books my first year. Uh,
Me too.
yeah.
I spent so much money. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's really not. There are a lot of good websites that offer you used books and sometimes they're like used books, but they're like in very new condition. Thrift books and A-books. And you can also try to find a PDF online. So that's actually what I would suggest first
I
is
would
look it up.
always do that.
Yes, look it up online first. If there is no hope, look at thrift books or A-books.
I actually had some friends that
Yeah.
would like with whatever chapter they needed, they just take my book, copy that chapter, and like just give it back. And they
Yeah,
just, if you can't buy the book, that's fine. Just do that. Sometimes the library too has the book, so you
that
can go use the book in certain hours, or if you want to copy it, it's up to you.
yeah. Because again, books can cost like $500 to $1,000 each semester. So they're very crazy, especially depending if you take a lot of like biology, chemistry, those big textbooks can really take you down. So please make sure to find other resources. And a lot of people always, like, I was always worried in college that like the professor would be like, oh, you got the book late, so you didn't do the, you can totally email the professor and be like, hey, the book is on its way. I'm sorry I couldn't do the reading for this week. It's perfectly fine. Again, as much as they are hands off, they're also very easygoing. So it's completely okay to be like, I'm sorry I missed the deadline for the essay. I'm sorry I don't have the book or I didn't do the reading, as long as you make it up to them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, so most people take about 5 classes a semester, so about 15 to 18 credits. Credits are really important to know if you're planning on going to grad school or if you're planning to graduate on time. So there's a lot we could say about credits, but I'm gonna leave it at that because it gets very complicated. But yeah, about 5 classes each semester, sometimes about 4, or 3 in the lab, something like that. Always make sure that you're mixing your major requirements and also general requirements. I knew way too many people who would like save all their like 101 classes for the very end of their semester, their senior year. And it was just really awful because your senior year, you want to be really excited about things and you want to be like, wow, I'm concluding my journey and then you're sitting with a bunch of first years in these lectures. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Always have the 4-year plan kind of in the background.
Also, you need to remember that some classes built on top of each other.
Right.
So if you're gonna save your first year and then you go right into that second class, you're gonna be very confused. It's not gonna be a fun experience. To keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely check that order. And develop a relationship with your advisor. I don't know. I know for the humanities, your advisor has to be one of your recommenders. So when you apply to grad school, you have to have 3 recommenders and one has to be your advisor. Because colleges assume that you're very close to your advisor because they've known you for 4 years. And of course, sometimes that's not the case. But they do, a lot of times people will ask your advisor to write a recommendation for you. And it's just a very good relationship. You have to meet with them like once a semester. So it's a very easy opportunity to create a relationship with someone who will later recommend you. And yeah, search for classes that kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So if there's like, this is easy for science people, like a biology class that fulfills your major and also general requirements, that's a great class. Or for me, it was on the Middle East and also had a writing component, so it fulfilled my writing requirement. Boom. So those classes are really good because they can help you finish faster.
And another part about that is you can finish your classes without being in a classroom, you guys. Go to your the head of your department, the little office where everything, they tell you everything about your major. Usually they have internship opportunities where you can earn money, fulfill your requirements, and you're making connections. You can do study abroads where you literally get scholarships, you go have fun, you have a blast, and you get your credits hour taken care of. And it's, look into opportunities like that. Not everything has to be in a classroom.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know too many Egyptians who do study abroad, so.
I did too, and it was the best experience.
Oh, you did? Where'd you go?
I went to Cuba, and then the second one was Guatemala and Belize.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
It was amazing just being in the environment because I was a Spanish minor, so I got to practice my Spanish, and then I covered like politics, like Cuban politics, and I covered like Guatemala and Belize border issues, and you meet with like ambassadors, and it's a great opportunity to just, and you make friends. Like there's still people from Cuba and like Guatemala that I'm still in touch with, and it's a great opportunity. Take advantage of that.
Oh wow, that is so cool. I really want to go to Cuba.
Oh, you do hit me up because I want to
yeah, I'm so jealous.
It was great because Cuban politics is so complex, and when you look at it from like one perspective, like American perspective, it sounds really bad. But when you're in the country and you're talking to people, you see so much more than what you just learned in like a classroom, like a book from someone's other opinion, and it's amazing.
Yeah, wow. So if you want any more like study abroad advice, Helen is the person. That's really awesome. I definitely would suggest also going to office hours to develop a relationship with professors. Why I really push people to network with professors is because college for me wasn't just about like getting to know stuff, but also networking, because it's the professors who know where the job opportunities are in the kind of place, the city that you're in. It's the professors who can really boost your resume, who can do recommendations for you, even for a job, even if it's not like I'm going to grad school, med school. It's the professors who will really do that work for you. So it's really important to develop a relationship with them and make sure that you're visiting them often, and be aware that a lot of people actually go to college and they are not good writers at all. It used to be really back in the olden days that you did have to be very good at writing to go to college, but now that's not, what is it called? Not the reality. So a lot of people go to professors, and this is a really good tip. They go to professors to develop a thesis statement, and then they'll go to the writing center if the college has one. And that's a really good way to start a discussion with your professor and to get to know them better. So even if you're not a good writer, it's also good to stop by and be like, hey, for the paper that we're writing for class, I just want to double check my thesis statement, or I just want to talk about some of the resources or sources that I found, etc. Also, find a good study space. I finally found mine my senior year at Vanderbilt. So it was very late in the game. So I think a good study space is really good for you, because colleges are so diverse in what they offer. So you will have obviously the library, and then you'll have people studying outside in the grass, which I could never do with all the bugs crawling all over you. I could not relax. And then there are some people who like a particular building corner, so they'll be studying in like where people take like classes and classrooms. People like benches, and some people study in the dining hall while they're eating. So it's just really, and some people go home and study. Try to find that study spot for you. That way you can actually get in the mood to study and concentrate and be like, I've got my coffee and I'm ready to go over this for the midterm tomorrow or something.
One thing that helped me out a lot was having a study group from every class. There's always a class where there's a group of people that are studying together, getting together, get to know these people, go to these study sessions, make groups. You guys can help each other out at homeworks, go over exams together. That always helped me when it was exam time. I loved doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And then invest in a good laptop. Honestly, my laptop broke down mid-year. Yeah. So it was fine. It could have been significantly worse had I lost anything. But really do just invest in a good laptop your first year. Because even if, like, I hear people who are like, but I don't take notes on my laptop. I'm like, I have a notebook and I have a pen. But you're going to be doing a lot of writing and you're going to be doing a lot of researching, and you're going to need a spot to put all that writing and that researching. And it's just better to invest in a laptop. To me, that's like one of the prime things. Like, don't invest in books, invest in a laptop. It's much more important. And then learn good annotating skills. Like I said, a lot of classes, especially in the humanities, if you're doing like political science, sociology, anthropology, history, you are going to need to be able to discuss in class. So you'll have readings, maybe like 100 pages, and you have to think of something interesting to say about those 100 pages. You can't just say a summary like, oh, this is what the author spoke about. No one's interested in what the author spoke about. We're more interested in like what was interesting. How can we develop this research? How can we move forward with this research? So it's really important that when you're reading, you're just not reading to summarize, but reading to develop what is being said, as if you're having a conversation with the author. So highlighters, highlight key passages or ideas. A really good way to start discussion is if you find a question in the reading. So if there's something that the author says that you disagree with, highlight that, bring it up in class. If there's a question you have, like a clarification that you weren't sure of, like where did the author get this idea from, highlight that, bring it up. Because I really think everyone's opinionated. It's just about learning how to be opinionated. So anything interesting that pops to you, any question that you have. I know a lot of people who color code. For me, that's too much. But yeah, it's something to consider if you really like different pens, and it just helps you learn better. And discussion is always good because then you can form a writing topic for your final paper. Yeah. So now the social part of college, which I think is like what people really want from college. Everyone's like, I want to get away from mom and baba. I want to live outside the house. I don't want to, like, I want to be a different person after these 4 years. Like, everybody has that energy going into college that it's going to be a completely different social, like a new me. But yeah, that's very idealistic. I think a lot of people develop in college, and it's really up to you which way you go. So there will be people, a lot of people who will go to college to party. It's really important. This is one of those things that really surprised me because I didn't know that there were a lot of people who were like legacy students. So students whose parents had gone to the school. So most likely those students have jobs after they graduate. They're fine. They are literally only going to school to have a plaque on their wall. But their dad owns an insurance company and they're going to be working at the insurance company, or their aunt and uncle have a law firm and they'll be working at the law firm. It's not an issue. So they're literally here for these 4 years for the diploma. And they're paying, 30, 60, whatever grand to be in these schools just for the formality of it. So depending on which school you go to, there are more or less people like this. So obviously, if you're going to places like Belmont, Vandy, Lipscomb, you're gonna get more of this type of people where all they do is party. And they don't care about class. They come in, you know, hungover, they're good, they really don't care about their aesthetic or anything or their reputation because they have it made.
Yeah, they're set. So be
Yeah.
smart. I mean,
Yeah.
you're paying money to learn something, so make your money, useful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just realize that your degree is not a formality. Your degree is there to not just be like something on the wall, but to network and to give you an education. Yeah, so college is a time to meet different people as well. I really encourage people to make different friends, to hear new ideas, to go to lectures that you probably wouldn't have gone to go to clubs that you probably wouldn't have done. I knew some people, there was like a dance, I don't know how to word it, but like it was like a dance performance where they teach you how to dance salsa, and then you do like a performance at the end. I knew some people, they had never done anything like this in their lives. They are not like gymnasts, athletes, nothing. But they did it for fun, and they were like, "Yeah, I want to learn salsa, and I want to perform on a big stage." So try to do something different, because this will be the only time in your life where you really do have the time, surprisingly, to do something different. And a really good way to be social is to like meet different people in your classes, and to do these different clubs and different ideas. For instance, I knew some people who picked up Zumba during college. So it's just really a time to just do something else and meet like Zumba friends.
It's a great way to learn new things without having to pay for the money for it now. Like if I want to learn salsa, like classes are expensive, but like
Right.
you could have done that in college and you know it and you're having fun. So
Yeah.
that's your advantage.
Right. And a lot of colleges like MTSU, Belmont, they have a lot of artists as well. So you will have a lot of students who want to do free performances. So it's really cool to support that type of initiative and really cool to see all these artists in Nashville because it's Music City. So yeah, it's a nice art scene as well. I really suggest trying to join 1 or 2 clubs. I know a lot of people don't like that because they're like, I'm not in high school anymore. So I don't want to join clubs. I don't need clubs for my resume. But I mean, again, if you do it for the social reasons, it's really fun. And it really develops you as a person. And again, you never know who you're going to meet, who has a resource for you, or who can be a great friend many years down the road. And it's also good for leadership and putting it on your resume. One really awesome thing about college campuses is that there's always free stuff um, going around on campus. So that's also somewhere where you could meet people who are like-minded. And really, for me, the most important social aspect of college is networking. I don't think there will be another time in your life where you will ever meet so many different people in one space. So please take advantage of that. Go learn about Cuba. Go to the Caribbean Students Association when they do like Independence Day celebrations. So it's a good place to network and to meet new cultures, to see new things. You never know.
It's also a great way to find a job. I think the
Yeah.
one mistake I made is I didn't keep up with the career fairs where all these
Right.
employers would come in and you can actually build connections with them before you graduate. So you're guaranteed a spot
Right.
right off there. You get a job and they connect you so much more people. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That was also something I missed out on because people were very like energetic about it, and I was like, I don't like hype, but it really is worth the hype.
It really
Um,
is. I
it's
wish I didn't do that. I wish I would have went. Like it would have
yeah, yeah,
made a lot of a difference in my career choice.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To just see different, because you never know what companies really exist or what entities, agencies really exist. And these colleges pull around like so many people because they want like the best talent,
Mhm.
college educated people. So, yeah, definitely
There's
that's
some employers that they even pull in and encourage you to get like a graduate degree and they will pay for it while
oh
they're paying you. So it's a lot of great opportunities. Don't miss out on it.
yeah, for sure. So the emotional and mental part of college. Do not be the person who, when they're scheduling their classes, does not budget time for food. You know yourself. Do not budget a 12 p.m. class when you have an 11 a.m. You know that. You know you're not going to be able to survive commuting, parking, going to this class, then going to the next class and then the next class without food. You know that.
Yeah, take
Um,
care of your bodies.
yeah, 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 yeah. You do not want to go to class like very tired. And like a college class is very tiring, whether it's lecture or discussion based. So do set time, like at least an hour is what I recommend between them. Or like if you have to do a class back to back, then just make sure they're not like triple back to back. And make sure that like you're able to come early on campus so that way you can get something, or you eat before you leave, and then you have the back-to-back classes and then you have a little bit of free time. So schedule time for food. You would be surprised how many people just are like, oh, I love all these classes, and book all the classes, schedule all the classes, and just don't eat.
Yeah.
And they're exhausted. So definitely don't overstress yourself. Like I said, if you need an extension on anything, professors, in my experience, have been very willing to move things or to be like, yeah, you can be a day late. It's okay. They're a lot more lenient than high school teachers are, as long as you communicate. So don't just expect them. Like you can't turn something in a day late without notifying the professor ahead of time. So don't overstress yourself. They completely understand that having 5 college courses is very difficult. So just communicate. Don't procrastinate. I know that's easier said than done. But many students during the midterm season, like final season too, like college campuses are completely different. It's like walking zombies around campus during those days, because people procrastinate. I guess it's different because I'm in the humanities, so we have essays. So it's much easier for me to prepare for an essay, a month ahead because I can think of a topic, I can think of a thesis, and then like every week pick 2 or 3 sources that I can use, and then I can end up writing it with like at the end of the month. But it is really easy to like push things. Um, and just keep in mind that for midterms and finals, you're pushing things, but they're going to be like a whole block, like final, one after the other. So,
Don't take
uh,
the risk of ruining your GPA too.
yeah,
Because once your GPA goes down, it's hard to put it back up. You
yeah,
don't want to retake those classes and pay the extra money. Write down what you need to get done, get it done right away. There's nothing cute about procrastination. You're just playing yourself, and it's
right.
for what? Like, come on. You're gonna
Yeah,
suffer either way. Suffer now. Get it over with.
yeah, 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 yeah. So really do try to break things down. Like we said, having a planner, and keeping your syllabi really close, so that way you can see all your classes laid out. What I really liked was that I had a day-to-day planner, so I got to plan out each of my days. And then I tried to also have a little map on my, not a map, a calendar on my wall where I could map out like what's going on this month for me. So that way I can also see, okay, in 2 weeks I have this due. In next week I have this exam. So just always be careful because things will creep up on you.
Yeah, every
So,
week look over whatever assignments are coming up so you're on
yeah.
top of that. You don't want to show up and all of a sudden it's like you're being graded on this discussion and you didn't even do the readings and you're gonna sit there, you're gonna look stupid and it's not fun. So
No, it's
focus.
not. Yeah. Especially during final season, it's really horrifying to see how many students just get bombarded because they didn't space out everything. So just be aware of that. Treat yourself. This is something if I had a very hard day, I would make sure to get myself a muffin or something. So make sure that you're doing things like that, because college is very hard. I know sometimes people, their parents who didn't go to college here don't understand how difficult it is, and they may even tell you that it's easier here than from us because in Egypt
Yeah.
it's straight up memorization. But it is also hard here. Because of how many assignments that you have to do and because it's discussion based a lot of times, which is much harder for you because you have to make yourself seem, or be smart, whatever, seem smart, be smart, whether you're faking it or not. Honestly, so your end goal is really to look as smart as possible, so it is really hard. So just keep that in mind.
Also, if
And
you feel like you're mentally like, so I know college can be draining with everything going on. If you feel like you can't cope with it or you're struggling, there's always like help, emotional help you can get at school. You can talk to your advisors. You can talk. There's like free therapy. You can go talk to them. Do what you gotta do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself.
yeah, yeah. You don't want to lose yourself during these 4 years because they can be a really awesome time for you because they're so very different from like high school. And they're very different from like work and adulting. So you're in this really great phase of just being able to learn and to engage and to network, without any harnesses and restraints. So yeah, find the help if you need it. Treat yourself if that works for you. Yeah. So just overall, your lifestyle will change as a college student. So again, I feel like the most important thing, don't overwork yourself, assuming that when you get a job, it's going to be like college. It's not. It's very different from college. And college is different from high school. So it's a very unique time. So don't treat it like everything else or anything else. It's just a very unique experience, that you need to dedicate your time, and yourself to just studying. Don't overwork yourself. A lot of good checkpoints to just check in with yourself. When you're choosing classes, to me, that's the most important time because you're setting yourself up for the next semester. So choose your classes wisely, and choose the timing and the professors. I think we said this a couple weeks ago, but like research those professors so you know, how much time you're going to be spending for that class. And make sure also you could, if you're worried about a class, email the professor ahead of time and ask for the syllabus. So that's something as well, if you're really dedicated to your mental health. Another good time to check in would be during finals and midterms. And always, if you're not feeling too happy with something, um, do try to reach out. We're always here for you all to offer you advice. And if there's any spiritual advisor or someone, a counselor at the university who can help you, please do also reach out to them as well. You will undergo a lot of change. I think a lot of people don't expect that. They're like, I'm going in, I'm going to go to med school. And then it's not going to be like that. You may, yeah, you're like, I'm going to be a doctor. And then you're like, I hate lab. So maybe you're going to do like nursing because you like day-to-day interaction versus like you're sitting there in a lab doing surgery, or maybe you choose to do research in a lab. Maybe you really like lab, standing for 3 hours and checking blood or something. Or maybe you prefer like the history of medicine, or I'm choosing medicine because all the Coptic people, but it does not have to be like that. Or maybe you really liked engineering, medical engineering. So it's really a time to really, I don't like, when people go into college and they have such rigid, this is what I'm going to be, period. Keep an open mind. I
Okay.
changed my major several times. Yeah. Because there were just new opportunities will come about, things that you didn't know about will come about, and you're like, I'm really interested in that. Let me go in this direction. Um,
Just
so,
don't limit yourself to one
yes.
thing. There's so much out there. If you're doing something for the money, I'm sorry
Yeah.
to break it out to you, even though I was like, no, it's good money, who cares? If you hate it, you hate it. You won't
Yeah.
even care about the money. You're done. Like, keep an open mind, don't limit yourself, know yourself, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then I think the most important thing to take from this whole thing, is that college is not just about academics. So a big portion of it will be your GPA, especially if you're going um, to grad school. But if you're not planning on grad school, I think what's more important is the networks that you're going to create. Because even if your GPA is low, if you know the right people, bada bing, bada boom. So keep that in mind as well, so that college is not just about what grades I have, who are my professors, but also who am I meeting, what are my networks for jobs, for volunteer internship positions. So keep that in mind as well.
definitely.
I don't think we received any questions, so maybe we were just very straightforward. But do you have any last thoughts, Helen, about this?
No, just know that college, it's not a game. You're paying good money. So
Yeah,
make it useful, make it worth your time, network. It's a great time to get to know people, make connections, and
right.
take what is the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
Just the opportunities you have,
right.
take them. Don't just sit there
Yeah,
and be like, I'm just gonna take my classes and go home. Like,
right.
don't
Yeah,
waste your money like that.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think especially once you graduate, you realize what a beautiful time college was. 'Cause once you graduate, yeah, again, you can't take the salsa classes and you can't just like go to Cuba. Um,
Yeah,
you
like
gotta
you
save
have
up money for that.
somebody paying for you to go, and you're just like,
Right.
why
Yeah.
don't we do this more often?
Right. And I know like everyone always is like, it doesn't matter because I'll just, I'll buy a Rosetta Stone and I'll learn Spanish. Or
No,
I'll just read a book and I'll know about the subject. It really isn't like that. Like college is such a really good moment. Like if there's a topic that you want to study, like African American history, take that course. Because you will not get that opportunity where you can read like 12 books in like 12 weeks about, you're not going to do that in real life. You think you will, but you're not.
you
Okay.
won't. Trust me. I bought Rosetta Stone to practice my Spanish, and I was just like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. You think you're going to go to all these places and then you're like, you know, day tripping to Knoxville. So yeah. So like once you get into the work environment and like adulting, it's just very different. It's its own own adventure. I know people are like, wow, you're going to Knoxville instead of India or something. But like it's its own adventure, and it's its own time, its own blessings. But really do cherish your 4 years that you have there, because also grad school is also very different as well. It's, you thought college was hard, just wait. So yeah, so really do cherish that time, and network. And if you need any assistance, I think most universities have all these writing centers, counselors, all these opportunities for folks.
there
So
are so many resources. Just go ask. It
right.
never hurts to ask.
Yeah, yeah, literally go up to any administrator, email your professor, be like, I'm struggling with this, and they'll point you in the right direction, your advisor, etc. So yeah, don't waste those 4 years overall. Yeah. So thank you, Helen, for being with me today. And in Mahaba, we'll see y'all next week. Actually, we have a really great program next week. Ustaz Ferris, who is Helen's father, uh, will be with us next week to discuss youth in leadership, particularly in Nashville, I think. So we're really honored to have Ustaz Ferris with us next week. So tune in, 5 p.m. next Thursday. So see y'all. Bye,
Bye.
Helen.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.